Are you a commercial microgreen grower looking to take your business to the next level? Look no further than Modern Grower for all your seed needs. At shop.moderngrower.co, we offer an extensive range of top-quality organic microgreen seeds, including popular varieties like sunflower, pea, broccoli, radish, and many more. But what sets our seeds apart? It's our unwavering commitment to quality and your success. Every batch of our seeds undergoes rigorous pathogen testing, ensuring you're working with the cleanest, safest products available. We're proud to offer 100% organic seeds, perfect for growers committed to sustainable and natural practices. And let's talk about results. Our seeds boast industry-leading germination rates, meaning more consistent crops and less waste for your business. Plus, we understand that growing is both an art and a science. That's why we offer advanced technical support to help you troubleshoot any issues and optimize your production. At Modern Grower, we believe in providing the best for less. That's why we offer competitive pricing without compromising on quality. Your success is our success. Ready to elevate your microgreen game? Visit shop.moderngrower.co today and use code PODCAST at checkout to save 10% on your next order. That's shop.moderngrower.co, promo code PODCAST. Grow better, grow modern with Modern Grower.
Along the similar lines of tipping fees and potentially questionable inputs, what are your thoughts on compost made with biosolids?
Wow. Not a fan. Not a fan. There's just we have in a country where prescription drug, use is massive, and in a country where, people eating diets of horrific food, fast foods and all kinds of stuff, and in a place where even if you're going to use that and they sterilize it, then what do you have? To me, I get it, but it just seems
doesn't jive with your ethos of who you are.
No, not at all. And I think, and the problem is when you put stuff out there, there's companies that use that and put it out and everything like that, and people think, oh, it's okay. We all have different experiences. In my view, if you're in a jungle and you're doing pits and you're doing, and you're having a pretty clean diet, and you're, or you're in somewhere that you're out on a farm where you're eating what you grow, that it changes the spectrum. But when you're living in, a modern society where people fix a lot of stuff or try to with drugs and have historically bad diets over the last, 50 years or 40 years, there's a lot of variables that you can't control with that.
Yeah. Similarly, what about manures? You use dairy manure, so it's coming from cows. Do you think all animal manures are created equal? Would you derive any benefit from getting other organic manures blended in?
Well, we use the organic dairy cow manure because for us, we have to use that in our biodynamic production that we do. It's also a really good clean source, and those animals, because we run the genetic IDs, we know the grasses and hays and even corn that they're eating, where it's grown, where it comes from, how it comes back, and how it tests. So we follow the inputs. But there's a lot of other animals that I think, alpaca, sheep, goat, great manures. Rabbit manure can be great. Chicken manure, if you're, controlling their inputs, what they're eating, if they're using an organic mash, or you get, eating your vegetables with, an organic mash out of the garden, great stuff. But the problem is you get into other things where I have a lot of friends that I've owned horses, and people are like, oh, I've got, horses, or I've got, horse down the street or whatever. And horses, for me, my horses, I always had to worm them. And I used ivermectin, and ivermectin is a flagell. It's an antifungal. So not good in their gut. And also a lot of horses, depending on what happens, they get put on a lot of different antibiotics. I had a couple of my horses that were very susceptible to different illnesses, and treating them holistically didn't work. So we had to go the antibiotic route. And so for me, I'm not a big horse manure fan. I'm not a big bag chicken manure fan because of where it comes from. I definitely never use steer manure because of where it comes from, and also it has really high ammonia levels and can have high concentrations of salt in it. So, but other things, if you're, I have a lot of friends, and we, on our farm in Oregon, we have different parts of the farm. We've got guys that have, have sheep, running around. We've got some goats on the farm. They're great. The goats are hysterical. We keep them out of our compost area, but in the areas that are there where they are, they're great. And they use those manures to grow some of the stuff that they're growing crop wise on the farm.
Yeah, along the lines of salts, that's a good point. Do you experience any issues with that using dairy manure? And is that something you have to rectify on your end through the process?
No, we don't, because of what the cows are eating. Basically, we're getting we don't have the salt issue that you get with the different feeds that animals eat in the confined animal systems. So we don't have high salt content in our compost, and I never have.
Now, I know you're making biodynamic compost, so the manure part kind of comes part and parcel with that by definition. But if you didn't have to be biodynamic, do you think that manure is a critical input to making good compost? There's some people that believe it is, and then you get this other side that is kind of that veganic route. They want just plant-based compost that was never near any manure. What's your thought on that?
Yeah, we have a lot of vegans that reach out to us. I'm a vegetarian. I'm not a vegan. I personally believe that I make a lot of green waste compost on different farms, different urban farms, different larger scale farms. At our own home farm, I do that. And what I always find is I don't feel that I get quite the kick that I'm looking for from a straight compost that's green waste. So I find myself adding. I'll supplement with rock dust. I supplement with sometimes I do a lot of we do castings at our house, and we do them at some other farms that we work on and consult on. I'll add castings, which even some people that are veganic are like anti-casting. So that's I've heard that side of the argument too. So but for me, I always find that adding a little bit of compost to your mixes, and I do for my soil mixes, I go that old school 25 to 33% good organic matter, like a finished compost. I might have a combination of 25 or 28% compost, and then 3% or 5% castings. But that's my base. That's always a base component. But I feel like it making good green waste compost too, especially where you can control the inputs. You're basically re-inoculating with the biology that's on your property back into the soil, and it works really, really great. And I've had people that have done that very successfully. For me, I always find that, especially some of my heavier feeders like tomatoes and other things like that, where you've got stuff that on my food crops, a lot of the time, I feel like they have such a initial hit because the uptake of nutrient is so quick and so strong. Most of them are short crops, and they have a short time span, that they're spent producing. That I feel like I get a better result with adding some manures, composted manure into my mix.
Today's episode is brought to you by Modern Grower. Modern Grower is your source for time and labor-saving farm tools, such as the PaperPot Transplanter, Quick Click Seeder, and the Jang Direct Seeder. Turn laborsome tasks into free time with tools by Modern Grower.